we can just move on to another huge trade that happened, and free agency didn't even start yet. Chris Paul going to the Golden State Warriors. He he was actually just already traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Washington Wizards. For Bradley Beal. And then, none of us expected Chris Paul to stay on the Washington Wizards because, they're not headed anywhere right now. So the Warriors got on the phone, called Washington, and offered Mr. Jordan Poole. We all know just the real main reason why he left. Because we can talk about his play all day. Was it up or down? But the whole Draymond Green situation, it just became just too evident in the playoffs when it came to Jordan Poole's demeanor out there. So they definitely pulled the trigger on that after paying him. So Jordan Poole, a Washington Wizard, Chris Paul now on the Golden State Warriors. Definitely an interesting fit just based off, the sort of rivalry that we seen between him and Steph Curry, between the Clippers and the Warriors back in the day. But I just want to ask you, will he fit on this team with Stephen Curry and the Warriors?
Yeah, I definitely feel like he could fit. It's just the only person I really questioning is him and Draymond on the same floor, because with the Warriors offense, I don't really feel like they're like a ball dominant type of team, and I feel like Chris Paul is very a ball dominant guard, and he likes to play make and get others involved. But with the Warriors, the ball moves a lot, so Chris Paul will not have the ball in his hands too much. But I could definitely see events to where Steph Curry is not really your true point guard because he runs off of screens, kind of acts more like a shooting guard the way he moves around the court like so much, especially with Clay as well. So I definitely feel him having Chris Paul at the helm at the point guard and then having shooting options like Steph and Clay is definitely a dangerous weapon. But I feel like Draymond is their playmaker, but I could definitely see them like, with dribble handles for Draymond and everything like that. It's just in those times where's Chris Paul at on the floor. That's what I have to see. But I definitely feel like he fits for those people, but it's just what lineups do you make if you bring Draymond back? Because do you potentially bring Chris Paul off the bench? Because even in the playoffs, we seen when Jordan Poole was on the bench, his job was to score, and he definitely failed at that job in the playoffs. A lot of times, definitely had his struggles. But I definitely understand, if you're gonna replace Jordan Poole with scoring, get a playmaker to kind of make plays for you. Um, when you can't score the ball. So it kind of makes sense to swap out a scorer for a playmaker in those events you cannot score. But it's just a matter of him and Draymond on the same floor. I just have to see it to kind of get a picture of it. But I could see him running with like Steph and Clay and potentially like Wiggins too. But the only thing, another problem too, is the center position. Um, every Chris Paul team kind of has a lob threat. Whether it was Clint Capella, Tyson Chandler, like DeAndre Ayton, he likes to play with his centers. He you know, kind of
Hold
builds centers. The centers definitely have a successful career playing with Chris Paul, and Mooney. I feel like he's more so like a defensive minded, rebounding type of guy. Not really too much offense on the end. So that's very curious to see how he works with Kevon Looney or whoever their center is at the time. But that's another question I just have with the Warriors. But yeah,
Well, first, just let me say, and I think there's something that we should all just know by now. Because I definitely see like the jokes and things of that nature when it comes to this trade. But Chris Paul's not about to come to the Warriors, and they're gonna be worse. Chris Paul, like even all the past destinations he's been to, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, Houston, the Clippers, he's gotten there, and the team has gotten better. Chris Paul is a great basketball mind, one of the best point guards, that we've ever seen. Arguably a top five point guard ever, and just once again one of the smartest point guards of all time. So just with his IQ, Draymond's IQ, Stephen Curry, Clay already have there, I can't see him going there and it just being a complete disaster, right? I can't see it to where like Westbrook going to the Lakers, how all that played out. I don't see Chris Paul going to the Warriors and it playing out like that. Once again, not coming at Russell Westbrook, just making a reference. It's something that happened recently. But in terms of the fit, I think you brought up a great point on Chris Paul and Draymond. and just sort of the point to where when Draymond is out there, because to your point, if they're gonna start both of them, Draymond is sort of that playmaker, and that's sort of his role on the team. So if the ball is gonna be in Chris Paul's hand, how else is Draymond just gonna be effective on the floor? We know what he can do defensively, but I think his greatest attribute on that team is just setting up Steph and Clay. So it's just definitely gonna be interesting, that dynamic, um right there. But just once again, his playmaking, Chris Paul's IQ, I don't think it's gonna be a problem at all. I think he's gonna get just even more great looks for Chris Paul and Klay Thompson. Does this like make them like better than the Denver Nuggets? I don't think so. Just due to one Chris Paul's age, two, Chris Paul's a small guard, so even with those lineups with Steph Curry and Chris Paul out there, like that starting lineup I see that's being projected with him, Clay, Steph, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. You seen just sort of with that Lakers series. If you have an Anthony Davis type figure out there, LeBron James that's gonna be attacking the basket, you're gonna be forced to then play Kevon Looney, and then it's just still just not gonna be in your favor. So I just think that that's just another thing you have to look at. Do you think this puts them in the Western Conference Finals?
No, I don't really feel like it threads the needle too much. Um, yeah, specifically because you just got to see how it fits on the floor first. Because again, with the playmaking and everything, but I don't really feel like this just elevates them to a conference finals just automatically.
Okay.